There could hardly be a clearer message for Rangers fans from Lewis Ferguson. The Scotland international has once again made his feelings about his boyhood club absolutely crystal clear. And this time, his words could have a major bearing on what happens. Let's break this down. There is so much to discuss in today's video, so be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for daily Rangers content. Ferguson has been heavily linked with a move to Rangers this summer, with reports suggesting that Ibrox club explored the possibility of bringing him back to Glasgow. But with Bologna reportedly demanding somewhere in the region of £17 million, that move was always going to be extremely difficult to pull off. However, despite the immediate stumbling block, Ferguson has now delivered a statement that will have Rangers supporters dreaming about what could happen further down the line. Speaking to Italian outlet Corriere dello Sport, Ferguson was asked directly about the possibility of eventually playing for Rangers, and his answer could not have been much more emphatic. Ferguson said, "It's my favourite team, and I've always said I want to play for Rangers. One day, though I don't know when yet, it will definitely happen if I get the chance." Think about that for a moment. This isn't simply a player refusing to rule out a move. Ferguson has openly admitted that Rangers are his favourite team and has said that he will play for the club one day if the opportunity presents itself. For a player who grew up supporting Rangers, spent time at Ibrox as a youngster, and comes from a family with deep connections to the club, that makes this particularly significant. His father Derek Ferguson and uncle Barry Ferguson both enjoyed successful spells at Rangers, lifting major silverware in Glasgow. And Lewis clearly hasn't lost that connection. In fact, Rangers supporters could potentially have a reason to keep a very close eye on his situation at Bologna. Ferguson is contracted to the Italian club until 2028, but he has admitted that he hasn't thought about extending that deal. He said, "I haven't thought about a renewal. My focus right now is football. I don't want to think about contracts or anything else. Then, if there's something to discuss, we'll talk." Now, that doesn't mean Ferguson is about to leave Bologna. It doesn't mean a Rangers transfer is suddenly imminent. But when you put those comments alongside his declaration that he will play for Rangers if he gets the chance, it certainly gives this story another layer. And there's another fascinating element here. Ferguson's father Derek recently questioned why Rangers even made an inquiry for his son when Bologna's asking price was understood to be between €15 million and €20 million. Speaking on the Open Goal podcast, he said, "Was that not a waste of time? A waste of time having the conversation and all that?" He continued, "Because they must have known the price, between €15 million and €20 million, Rangers can't go that far for a player, so why did they go down that route?" And that tells you just how difficult the deal would have been this summer. Rangers simply may not have been in the position to spend that kind of money on one player. But perhaps the most important part of Derek's comments came afterwards. He added, "Hopefully that will happen somewhere down the line." And that is exactly where this story becomes really interesting, because Lewis Ferguson himself has now said the same thing in his own way. He wants to play for Rangers. He believes it will happen one day. The question is simply when. And while Ferguson remains focused on his football in Italy, he also revealed just how comfortable he has become in Bologna. He described Glasgow as his first home, but called Bologna his second home, explaining that his family has settled there and that his second daughter was even born in the city. So this isn't a player desperate to get out of Italy tomorrow, but it is a player who has left the door firmly open to one particular destination, and that destination is Rangers. For now, the financial reality makes a move extremely difficult, but transfers aren't always about what is possible today. play. Contracts change, circumstances change, transfer fees change. Players reach different stages of their careers, and Ferguson has made one thing abundantly clear. If the opportunity comes, he wants to wear that Rangers shirt. So perhaps the biggest question isn't whether Lewis Ferguson wants to play for Rangers. We've now got the answer to that. The real question is whether Rangers can eventually make that opportunity happen. And given Ferguson's latest comments, this may be a transfer story that isn't going away anytime soon. Before we get into our next story, if you are enjoying today's video and you would like to see more and stay updated with the latest Rangers news, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a video. Thank you, let's get back into the video. There has been a significant twist in the tour Rommens transfer situation, with Rangers receiving a potentially huge boost as Club Brugge continue their search for a new left-back. It was recently revealed that the Belgian Giants had made contact with Rangers to inquire about Rommens and explore what it would take to bring the defender back to Belgium. That immediately raised questions over whether Rangers could be facing a late transfer blow, particularly with Brugge looking to strengthen after the departure of Bjorn Meyer. However, a fresh update from respected Belgian journalist Sacha Tavolieri appears to have changed the picture. Tavolieri has now revealed that Rommens is not Club Brugge's only option. In fact, the Rangers defender is one of 3 players currently being considered, with Werder Bremen's Olivier Dahmen and former Rangers loanee Jayden Magoma also on Brugge's shortlist. And that could be very important news for Rangers. Rather than Rommens being the clear priority, Club Brugge are now assessing multiple possibilities for the position, meaning Rangers may not have to worry about an aggressive pursuit of their Belgian defender before the transfer window closes. There is also another major factor working in Rangers' favour: Rommens' current injury situation. The defender is expected to be sidelined for several weeks with a groin problem, and that injury has already forced Rangers into action. With Rommens unavailable, the club moved to bring in James Penrice from AEK Athens on a season-long loan deal with an option to buy. That makes the prospect of Rangers allowing Rommens to leave particularly difficult to imagine. Derek McInnes would suddenly find himself needing to replace another left-back while already having Rommens unavailable, which is hardly an ideal situation with the new season underway. And with Club Brugge now seemingly looking at alternatives, the pressure on Rangers could be easing at exactly the right time. Of course, this does not mean the Rommens situation is completely dead. Club Brugge clearly have an interest, and the fact that he remains on their shortlist means his future is still worth monitoring closely. But the latest development is certainly encouraging for Rangers. For now, the Andrew Kavanagh-led club appear to remain in a strong position, while Rommens continues his rehabilitation at Ibrox. What initially looked like a potentially serious late exit threat could now be taking a very different direction, and Rangers fans may have just received the twist they were hoping for.